How far?
I'm in the Trading Hub live session.
So like I always say, first things first, always identify your trend. And if you look at this, if you are starting from here, you clearly see that it was coming from an uptrend, then it created a downtrend, then it shifted here. Then it shifted here. This is 4 hours time frame. I want to be as fast as possible. It shifted here, then it broke structure here. Then it came back for the other block, came back for this area, but it did not get to that high. So it has not, you can say it is still on an uptrend on the higher time frame because the protected low has not been taken out, neither has the high. So this is still clearly on an uptrend on the higher time frame. And when you've confirmed the trend on the higher time frame, it makes it easier for you to look for other trades on the lower time frame. So if you wanted to enter this, you'd have had something like this. That's your liquidity, and you'd have had something like this for the AUD card person. And this would have been your target, the first external range liquidity, then your full TP. But then if you're targeting this, you'll have still gotten 3 hour on the higher time frame for a swing. And as long as this low has not been taken out, the market is still on an uptrend. It's taking back for another re-entry. You can see that it keeps tapping that re-entry, but then it becomes much riskier once there's so many touches in the demand area. Please mute your mic. But then on the lower time frame, what you should be looking for is buys, and that was exactly what happened here. So let me zoom out. So you can clearly see on the lower time frame also entering buys because the overall trend on the higher time frame is bullish. So it's made it easier to pick buy setups. This is a breaker block entry. This is a normal subtrend. You can see it's a substructure, but it was still bullish. And this is the most recent one, a 5-hour trade, and it got there. So as it stands now, you still keep looking for buys, but now the market is very close to the high. So you need to wait to see what the market will do. But as long as this low has not been taken out, the trend is still bullish until here is broken before you can say there's a shift or change of character. So overall, you should still be looking for buys. And if this actually breaks, then you start looking for a buy entry. But let's see what the market does during the overall. This market is bullish. So I'll try not to spend much time on a pair. So let's get to the next one. Now, this one has been moving mad of recent. It's been very complicated, as you can see. It's been very, very complicated. Broke structure shifted again. Broke structure has been moving mad actually on the higher time frame, but it hasn't given entries yet. This is a valid order blocks. A valid order block rather. This is another one. But let's see what the market does during the. This is a very, very clear one on the higher time frame. It has not gotten to main point of interest yet. This is one. This is one. Then one can use this to based on this subtrend that is just creating a buy to sell. This is a buy to sell, possible buy to sell entry, but this might not hold. It might not hold because that's already moved. So if it breaks here, then it might just continue the downtrend and ignore this point of interest. So I purposely marked this down just to show you what I'm looking at on the higher time frame. But if I'm going down to the lower time frame, you'll still be able to pick some entries. Still be able to pick some entries. And it's still aligned. This is a valid order block on the lower time frame. You can see that there's a shift, there's a break of structure, and this is the origin of that movement. There's still multiple break of structure here. But if this is broken, then it might get to this point of interest. So that's why it's important to mark out your higher time frame point of interest. So you won't be trading against the higher time frame trend. But overall, these are point of interest to look for sales. So if our eventual price comes back here, it might pick this and buy towards this point of interest. And this is a 3-hour trade to this external range liquidity. This is also another area to look out for, but I don't think it will hold. It will most likely break this. It will most likely break this, but you can just go to your maybe 15 minutes again and pick your entry from here. If you go to the 15 minutes, you will see that it's also somewhat valid because there's a break also. You can see how it kept going down. So you can see it can still come back here and bounce. But during the week, we'll see what happens. But overall, this is the clearest setup on AUD USD entering into the new week. Then the next one is Euro USD. As you can see, always mark out your structure first of all, so you know what you are looking for. Break of structure, it shifted and it broke structure. So it was on a downtrend, then it shifted again and broke structure again. Now this is a valid order block. This is another valid order block. So it's now left for the market to come for either of it. I try not to waste much time whenever I'm trying to swing or day trade. It's very simple. Mark out your structure, mark out your point of interest, and wait for inducement around it. Let the market create an inducement. It makes that point of interest more valid. And that is why I marked out this, because there's an inducement before it. This is also a buy to sell, because this is also a major bearish order block. Do you understand? So if you go to the 1 hour now, you still see that it aligns. This is still a valid order block, a shift, a break of structure. And the last eye, this is also valid. You can clearly see it. That's also valid. So it still aligns. But it's when you start going down to like 15 minutes that you now start to look at more possible entries. And if you are looking at this, you can see that this has mitigated this. This is what you most likely be looking at. But because of the wick that is under, it makes it complicated to place. But looking at it, there's also an inducement before it. This has already been mitigated. This is the only unmitigated area. And if you look at it too, it was the area that created this shift on the 15 minutes. So it's also valid if you are planning to take a lower time frame trade. But then open market spread and gap will be crazy. So you need to see what the market does around here. Do you understand now? So that is that for Euro USD. There's nothing much to say. You can see there's nothing much to say. It's still valid to an extent. You just need to see what the market decides to do. Then the next one is GBP USD. Why do I still have this? I deleted all these things before because I don't treat GU. So for this now, I have to like reanalyze. I might have all these things since. So let's see. So let me go to the 4 hours. So for GU, it is clearly on a downtrend. Very clear one. Very clear one. And I think it shifted here, if I'm not mistaken. But it has not broken structure. So you can't completely say it is bullish yet. But then you can mark out your point of interest also. This is very valid. You can see clear inducements before it. Anytime price comes here, there would definitely be a reaction. This one is I'm very, very certain. There'll definitely be a reaction here. There'll definitely be a reaction here. That's a very valid order block. So it will most likely ignore all these ones and come for this. It will most likely ignore it. That's a valid order block right there. Nothing else is entering my eyes yet, but it has shifted. This is the shift, but it has not broken structure. So you have to wait and see what the market does. But this is a valid order block on the 4 hours. So this is like a swing entry. And where will be your targets? You can target this. That's a 4-hour trade. And you can go to your lower time frame. Trying to make it 5. Okay. That's the 5-hour setup. But then I feel there might still be a break of structure before it comes for this one. So it will take a long time before price comes here. It won't come there anytime soon though. But there's CPI this week, so you never can tell. So I push the price down to peak entry here. But this is a very valid order block. Very, very valid. Very, very, very valid. And there's a shift already. So let's see what the market decides to do. If you're trading on the 1 hour, you'd have been seeing so many sub movements. Like something like this now. All these areas, if you're trading on lower time frame, you can use 1 hour to map out 1 hour point of interest. Then you now go to your 15 minutes to see if they align. This also has inducements before it. This also has an inducement before it. And that is also valid. So if you're trading 1 hour, that's a valid place to pick an entry. I don't really use FVG because FVG is usually everywhere. So, but then having an FVG close to the other block also makes it very valid. So this is also a valid setup on the 1 hour because it aligns with the trend. And all these are already mitigated. This has been mitigated already. You can see that it has been mitigated. So this is not entirely valid because it was around the other block. This is valid one here. So if I were planning to enter a buy on the 1 hour, this is where I will have my entry. Here we have 15 minutes. So let me be fast. I'll go to other pairs. So this is what I'll be having on the 1 hour. If at all I wanted to pick an entry, market will likely ignore this. But because of this, you can map out these two. There will be something there on the 15 minutes. Let's see. There'll definitely be something there. I said it. I knew there will be something there. So if you're trading 15 minutes, your buy will be around here. And from here to your, you can put it here. And from there to the external, it makes it easier for you to get your 1.3. You can see this area alone is 1.5. And there's an inducement too. Like I said, always look for the inducement or liquidity, as some people used to call it. So if I were looking for setups on this, that is what I would have on GU for 4 hours, 1 hour, and 15 minutes. So let's quickly get to GJ. Oof, 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 oof. Okay, same. You start from the 4 hours, clear uptrend. You can use your eyes to map it. That's a clear uptrend. I don't want to be doing break of structure, but you can clearly see it. Those are clear structures. So it's clearly on an uptrend. Then it shifted here. It broke structure here. And all this area too. So then there was a shift here for 4 hours. Then another break of structure there. But then you can clearly see that the trend is changing. It's changing, gradually changing. And where is the target? This is the most recent high. And that is where price is most likely headed towards. So I don't see it selling for now, except something fundamental happens. It looks more like the buy. Looks more like the buy will continue sending the chart. Maybe it's your network. Or is there anybody that can see my screen? So let's go to the 1 hour chart. Time is going. So on the 1 hour, you can clearly see that the trend has switched to bullish. All right, you can see it now. Okay. So the trend has changed bullish. So what are we looking for? Only buys. And this is unmitigated. So I always look out for the nearest area for price to just pick and continue movement. This is a clear point of interest. You can see how clean it is. When you map out your structure properly, it becomes clearer. It becomes very clear. That's a 3-hour setup. That's the cleanest setup available on GBP JPY. You can modify it on by yourself. It's clearly buying at least till this high, especially when it is close to an high. You shouldn't be trying to counter the trend. Wait for the reaction. So if it reacts here and starts selling, you join the movement, but don't be an early seller when the market is clearly on an uptrend. You most likely burn 7 to 8 out of 10 times. So kindly take note of that. But this is the clearest setup on GJ for now. You can see that it's very clear on the 15 minutes too. So this is the clearest setup for now. It's a clear setup. So if eventually comes back here, there's inducement, a valid order block with a bullish engulfing, most likely to pick it and just bounce. And that's a 3-hour setup. We only have 10 minutes left though. Okay, let's do UJ. This one has been annoying of recent, but still a very good pair. Doesn't really give clear direction on the 4 hours like that. But you can clearly see a break of structure here. And another break of structure here. And this is a valid order block. It's just sitting pretty there. Anytime market comes there, it's most likely hold. That's a very valid one. You can see the inducement very clear to it. And the market shifted here. But this imbalance is very crazy. The market needs to clear it. But for it to clear it properly, the market might have to come for this area. So this is like the best area to buy. That you'll be confident that I've entered a good setup. This is the best area to buy. This is the best area to buy. Then if you go to the 1 hour, you clearly see this. You can see that the market is on a downtrend, but it hasn't shifted. So on the 1 hour itself, it still gives me that bias that it will most likely come back for this area after this has already held. This was a 5-hour trade, by the way. So because of the shifts and the break of structure, it made it valid. So the market literally came for it, and there was inducement. You can clearly see the inducement. So it was a very, very sweet setup, by the way, and it came for it. But then it still looks most likely to come back for this higher time frame demand, for the bullish momentum to clear this imbalance. It needs to clear it and will most likely create another high heading into the new week. But let's see what the market decides to do. But that's the trial. It is very, very straightforward. So that was how that setup was cut. Please mute your mic. Then the next one is XAU USD. So this should be the last one. So you can clearly see this one has been respecting structure a little bit, but you can clearly see that there was a shift. So this is the nearest area, like I said, there was a shift here. This was a break of structure, there was a shift here, and there's a break of structure here using the 4 hours. So what that means is that it is bullish on the higher time frame. But where do you pick your entry from? You can see that gold has been mitigating all the major other blocks. It has been mitigating them except this one. Now, what that means is that, and there's an imbalance before it too. So, but what it means is that anytime it comes back for this area, it will most likely buy. But then it needs to create and induce it before. This might take a lot of time, but this is going to be a very, very valid area to buy for a swing trades that can last days or up to a week safe. Do you understand? So that is that 5 minutes more. So if you go to the lower time frame, you see most of this movement. You can see that they were short-term bullish momentum trade. You can see it. So you can still follow. But on Friday, the market, Thursday and Friday, the market was just turning on its own because this is literally a consolidation. I won't call it because it didn't create another high and it didn't break structure. Because this was the last, let me delete this one. This was the 7-hour trade. How did I get it? I picked it on the 15 minutes. You can see. Picked it on the 15 minutes. Same thing here. Same thing here. But this cleared everything. So it was consolidating on Friday. But there's not really much to talk about here until the market actually opens. You need to see what the market does. But it needs to break this high to continue the bullish momentum. If it breaks this high, then you start looking for more buys. But for it to like sell, this has to be broken for you to say, okay, it is now going to be bearish on the 15 minutes. This has not broken with a full body yet. It is just a sweep. So if you see a break, then you start looking for sales on the lower. Start looking for sales on the lower time frame. But there needs to be a full body break here before we can say I want to start looking for sales. But for now, it has not given anything clear yet. Look at this area, and you can clearly see, sorry, if you go down to this area, I can clearly see that there was a clear direction, which made it easier to pick entries. Then it shifted. It did not break structure. It only swept liquidity. You can see that it has not broken structure. It's just sweeping liquidity. So we need to see a break of structure. Then you now identify a valid order block. So it depends on what the market gives us around here. That will determine what's next to do. If it breaks here, there, and create a break of structure, then you look for sell. Either a breaker block entry, or you wait for it to give another block entry. But either ways, you need to wait and see what the market does around here. There's no clear direction yet. It has not broken structure. It has only shifted. Then the last one is 758. I need to run. Let's see if you can do that. Someone said cat chef. Show me broker for cat chef. Let's see. Okay, let me use paper stone. So this is also clearly okay. It's on the downtrend. Has it shifted and broken structure? Shift, yes. Break of structure, no. This was not created. So this was the last. So this was where it shifted. So you need to know how to map out all these things correctly also. It has only shifted. It has not broken structure yet on the 4 hours. So this is where it's going to break structure. And if you break structure, I know. If you break structure, Zoom is already warning me. If you break structure, you start looking for your entries around here. And there's an inducement for it, but you need to see a break of structure first. Then you now go to your lower time frame to pick entries. I've not seen anything clear yet for now. I need to see that break first. So after that break, you can now say, okay, 8 o'clock, time up. So you can clearly see that it's not clear yet. That's not really giving me something very clear. I need that break, either to the upside or to the downside. There should be a break. That will validate this area. Then you see what the market does in between. Then you now target somewhere around here. But if it comes back and pick entry, you should be targeting anywhere around here. Now let's come. I mean, I'm already done. So I guess that'll be all for now. It's already past 8 and my match has started. I recorded this session. I will see how I'm going to drop the recorded session, probably on the group or somewhere. That will be done in the morning. Enjoy the rest of your evening.